Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Crumbs with your host, me. So, we are going to pick up where we left off last night. But before we do that, I do want to just kind of get a poll going because I had some feedback today where people would like to start at the beginning. So, if you guys would rather us start at the beginning of this trial, we can do that. Or if y'all want to keep going with just Alex's testimony, we can do that too. Hey, CC. So you guys let me know. Last night was pretty interesting. I enjoyed our conversations. Hey, Cool Gamer. Hey, Blind. Hey, KDM. Hey, Fox. Hey, sister. So you guys let me know. Because I know some of you aren't even like aware of the whole situation of this case, but after watching last night, you kind of got the want to know more about this case. And the thing is that I wasn't on YouTube when the Mardaugh murders happened, so I didn't cover it. Otherwise, if I had been on YouTube, I definitely would have covered this just because this is like the South. And girl, call me, CC. I will be glad to do Anna Scott with you. And we've missed you. And I watched that video the other day. You still got them skills, girlfriend. You still got them video skills. Persuma. So, Dynasty has fallen. That's the best way that I can explain this. When trying to explain the Alex Mardaugh, the Mardaugh family, you know, socialites, the money, the drugs, the cover-ups, the corruption, all of those things. And when you think about, the show Dynasty, that was what it was back in our younger days. And knowing that watching the show and watching this trial gives me those Dynasty vibes so much. And I kind of feel like I'm watching a horrible acting scene when I'm watching this trial. From the very beginning of this trial, I'm like, these people would not be good actors. They're good at, that Southern lingo. They have that Southern accent that I wished I had. So I've been watching the trial and keep going back and forth. I'm wishy-washy that way. So I am also the same way. Like, you guys know that for me, like, I want to see the good in everybody. My downfall, I want to find the good even in the bad. And yes, innocent until proven guilty. And me and the girls talked about it today and our feelings on it. And I don't feel like he pulled the trigger per se, but I definitely feel like he had a big part in it. And so let me get that pulled back up. We got to go to Court TV. So I've already picked out my movie to go to sleep with tonight. Last night I watched Pretty Woman. Tonight we're going to do, me and the cat are going to watch, stop, why are you not going where I told you to go? Home Sweet Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama. Oh, I came up. I haven't been pulled up on my own freaking thing in a while. Okay, Court TV. Court TV. Go back. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll finish Alex's testimony, and then we can go back to the beginning, because I think that his testimony is just
video we've seen is timestamp.
crazy. Crazy mama. Hey, kill shot. Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to watch Alex Mardaugh. Oh, and who went and watched the Netflix series? I know my sister did. Did anybody else go watch that series I told y'all to watch?
At 8:44 p.m. Is that correct?
That's right.
So was it shortly after 8:44?
It was.
And
It wasn't long after that, because you can hear when Bubba gets the chicken, and it wasn't long after I took the chicken from him.
That dang chicken.
And then you called 911. The records of that, but do you remember roughly 9:07 or right before 9:07?
I mean, I've seen the records and seen the transcripts, yeah.
And then this is, and the records of this, but this is some minutes into the conversation with 911 operators, correct?
That's right. Like,
Knowing everything we know now, I mean, was it roughly an hour and a half the last time you saw him?
it was. That would, with the time of however long it took to get to this point, however many minutes that is 10:10 to 10, however many, you can look exactly and see what point this is and know what time it is, but it's between 10 and 10:15. And so I'd seen them around 8:45, a little bit after.
All right, please keep going.
What they were doing at all?
No, I talked to her in person.
You talked to her in person?
And please hurry.
But we're getting somebody out there too. Me asking you these questions, don't slow them down, okay? And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot in the head, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not. Neither one of them moving.
What is your telephone number?
942.
He shot his wife, well, allegedly shot his wife and his son, 22-year-old son.
1227. I'm going back to my house just to get a gun just in case. I'm about
Did you go back to the house and get a gun?
I did.
And is this the gun that you got?
Okay, let's do this really quick. Put a 1 in the chat if you know about this case, other than watching last night's testimony. Put a 2 if you don't know about this case. Because I don't want everybody confused if they're not familiar with this case. Persuma knows, Crazy Mama knows, Casey does because she listened and she did her homework. Foxfire is learning. She's learned a little bit. Yes, Persuma, did you watch the Netflix thing? Okay, so, all right. So Alex Mardaugh is the man on the stand giving his testimony. Okay. Wealthy, very prominent people in Low Country, South Carolina, small town USA, where money can make things go away. And so his children, bless their hearts, look like their dad. But Buster and Paul are his 2 sons, and then his wife was Maggie. And Paul is the 22-year-old son that was murdered and was quite a bit of a troublemaker, caused a lot of problems for the family. Alex was always having to get him out of trouble, but money could speak. Until the moment that Paul, a couple years prior, had a boating accident with him and his friends. He was very intoxicated and wrecked the boat, and one of the friends fell out and drowned and didn't survive due to his drunkenness. So this started a lot of issues for the family. They were being sued by the family of the daughter. And with all due respect, the family deserved justice, and that family did not get their justice. And I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I don't feel like Paul should have been able to walk the streets. Just like if you had a car wreck and you killed someone because you were drinking and driving, you're going to pay the consequences. Then the night of the accident, Alex immediately took over everything and immediately blamed one of the other gentlemen for the accident. And this caused a lot of problems in the town, this small town. And Alex admits to being on drugs and being very, very paranoid. And, we're talking, he's an attorney, he's a prosecutor, so he knows what he's doing on this stand. He's not dumb, and neither are his attorneys. So that's where my heart is torn. And we're listening to the 911 call right now. They're playing the 911 call of when Alex calls in the night of the murders. Alex claims that he was at his mother's at the time of the murders. He was at his mom's taking care of her, and he comes back. He thought that Maggie and Paul would have been back at the house by the time he got back. They were not. He tried calling, no answer. So he then went to the dog kennels, and that is when he found them. So that's the rundown. When he took the stand yesterday, or the day before yesterday, he admits to lying to the officers. And this testimony gets quite funny. That's because, when he left earlier, allegedly left earlier to go to his mom's, they were still at the kennels. Yeah. So the golf cart thing is they have lots of property, so they go around on the golf cart. But he says that he drove down in his Suburban, not the golf cart. The golf cart was when they were down there earlier, but when he went to check on them the night of the murders, he drove his Suburban. But there were no Suburban tire tracks that were found. Only golf cart tire tracks. So that's the gist of it. Maybe tomorrow I will do a pre-recorded of it.
And how did you load this gun? What did you load it with, if anything?
That was gun, as best I can remember. I believe I got that gun off the pool table where you heard there was some other gun. I think that gun was laying with that pool table. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it was on that pool table. Would have been the first place I came to. I know I was grabbing the first gun I could get. I grabbed a handful of shells out of the that I could get my hands on. I know the gun had a shell in it that I loaded, and I know I had a few shells. So
Have you seen in this case where there was a 16 gauge shell put in that gun?
I've seen in the records and I've seen and heard in the testimony that I put a 16 gauge shell in the gun.
Is that a 16 gauge shotgun?
It's not a 16 gauge shotgun. It's a
Why'd you
12
put
gauge.
a 16 gauge shell in it?
I obviously didn't realize what I was doing. I mean, I know you can't put a 16 gauge shell in a 12 gauge gun and not, I mean, I've been hunting my whole life. I know you can't do that. That's not a mistake I would have made. That's not a mistake I'd have made under any circumstances other than that night.
Why did you go back to the house to get a gun?
I just didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, I don't know. Saw it be. I mean, it's just, I didn't know if somebody was still out there. I don't know. I guess I didn't know.
$16 gauge and a 12 gauge. What's that going to do? Does anybody know? Y'all don't know? I'm still baffled that this man's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to tell him like I tell my kids. I don't know is not an answer. I don't know is not an answer there, Mr. Alec Mardaugh. Mardaugh. That name is so hard. Couldn't y'all get like a normal last name? So, 16 gauge and a 12 gauge shotgun is not a wise decision.
Please keep going.
And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Go back to where he said he's going to my house to get a gun. Just a few seconds back, 10 seconds maybe.
I know you're upset, Mr. Mardaugh, but I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
Back up some more. Back up some more, please.
My house, just to get a gun, just in case.
What is your telephone number?
942-1227. I'm going back to my house just to get a gun, just in case. I'm about 100 yards from my house.
Alec, you said you're about 100 yards from the house.
That's what I said.
Is it much further than that?
I mean, as you've heard in the testimony, it's 1,100 and something feet, but
Okay.
I said I was 100 yards.
You were wrong about your estimate.
I'm sure I was wrong.
Okay. Keep going.
And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no, ma'am.
Okay. Well, Well, I know you're upset, Mr. Mardaugh, but I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
I will not do that. He's been being threatened by, my son had a boat wreck. He's been being threatened for months and months and months. He's been hit several times and he should finally quit.
Do you know who was threatening your son?
It's too many. Hold the phone. One second.
And you don't know the name of who was threatening him at all?
My son knows. And my son knows.
Your son knows who was threatening him?
I have another son now.
Okay.
All right, I'm going back down there.
Okay, so this is the part where he calls 911. They're playing the recording of his 911 call. He goes back to the house, gets a 12 gauge shotgun, puts a 16 gauge shell in the 12 gauge shotgun. The problem with that is that it's not going to fit. It's not going to work. Okay. Some shotgun shells will fit inside of, you can maneuver them between different gauges, but with a 16 and a 12, you cannot. It's not going to work. It's not going to go through the chamber. Okay. My daddy did teach me a thing or two. So even if someone still had been down there, the murderer still had been down there, Mr. Mardaugh could not have protected himself. He would have been lying there with his wife and son.
All right, roll to the next tape of the same film.
2021, 22 hours, 13 minutes, 58 seconds.
Oh, they're close, ma'am.
Yeah, they've been around with you ever since you got on the phone with me. I have multiple people coming out there to you.
This is a cold blooded phone.
Okay, can you do me a favor, Mr. Mardaugh, and turn on the flashers on your car so that way they can see where the kennels are? Do you have your flashers on for me, Mr. Mardaugh?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want you to touch them at all, okay? I don't know if you've already touched them, but I don't want you to touch them just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay?
I already touched them trying to get to see if they were breathing.
No, Allie, that second clip starts at 22:13, 10:13, 58 and you're asked, you're told don't touch them. Had you touched them by then?
Yes,
And that way you told the 911 operator.
it is.
And, can you say exactly during that 6-7 minutes when you actually touched them?
I know I touched Maggie. I touched Maggie several times, but I mean, I think I didn't. I don't think I touched Pawpaw.
Okay, so excuse me, ma'am. Ouch. So he was told not to touch them. Obviously, he didn't need to contaminate the crime scene. And yes, he did say last night he touched Pawpaw. But he did touch them. He touched both of them. And because he touched them, he could have, like, in the first day of interrogation, not interrogation, of testimony, they do pull up evidence, and the SLED officers do take the stand, and they talk about the evidence and, testing for the gunshot residue. And there wasn't like so much gun residue found that it was, oh yes, he definitely pulled the trigger, but it was enough for them to question it. So they did ask, hey, if he touched them, could he have transferred the gunshot residue? And initially, yes, but the likelihood of that much gun residue, no. So, because it was more than a trace of gunshot residue, but it's also believed that he did change clothes. So when he went back to the house, did he change clothes? Did he get rid of those clothes? Did he?
Well, you informed the 911 operator that Paul had made reports of these threats. What are you referring to?
I just know that it had been reported. I don't know that, and I don't believe there was any like formal police reports or that type of thing. But it had been reported, and it was well known.
Were you saying he had filed some official report when you said yes?
No, I never thought there was a police report or some formal report like that. No.
Do you know whether or not he made some type of report on campus?
Oh, I know he did.
What do you know?
I know that there was there was a time when he was asked to come meet with, God, I can't even remember the gentleman's name now, but I appreciated it so much and I never thought I'd forget it. But
Part of student counseling service?
yeah, he was the dean of students. But anyway, he reached out to Paw and wanted to talk to him. And I mean, at first we were concerned, you know, why they want to talk to him? And I mean, even I believe I had Paul come talk to you about that because we were concerned. Well, what are they going to talk to him about? But when Paul and Jim got there, it turns out that it was really just I mean, they wanted to make sure he was okay. But, you know, just make sure he was okay. And I know that, you know, they were aware of the threats or some level of threats. And so, yeah, I mean, it had already been reported to them.
Keep going, Doug.
And what's your son's name?
Paul,
Paul?
man, I'm gonna call. I need to call some of my family.
Okay.
On this.
Well, do me a favor for me. Whenever you see the officer or the medics, because they're all coming to you, can you put your gun in your vehicle for me?
Absolutely.
Okay. But we have them come and turn on the flashes on your vehicle so they can see you, okay? You got the flashes on for me?
I do.
Okay. All right. Whenever you see them, put your gun up for me, okay?
Okay.
How old is your son?
22.
Okay. All right. We're getting them out there to you, okay? All right.
So Alec, did you call family after you got off the call with the operator?
Yes.
Who'd you call?
I know I called my brother Randy. I know I called my brother John. And I know I tried to call Rhoda. Well, Rhoda's not family, but I called Randy and John. And I called Randy and John.
And then you just mentioned Rhoda.
Rogan. We called him Rhoda. I called him Rhoda.
Why did you try to call Rogan?
I mean, Rogan's house was like, I don't know, as the crow flies, maybe 200.
As the crow flies. What the heck? Can't we use normal words? We don't say as the crow flies. Not in a long time. I've not heard that ever, I don't think. Other than in a movie. But that's what he uses. Yes, he in fact does put 911 on hold. He tells them he's got to go call his family. Here we go with another weird nickname, Roro. Roro. And we're going to learn that Roro has a dog at the kennels. So, some more dogs down there at the kennels. Stop Bubba with the chicken in his mouth. The details that I don't even think I would remember the chicken in the dog's mouth at this point. But he says that about the chicken a lot. A lot.
2.5 miles, 3 miles. Rogan was like family.
Did you think he was the closest person?
Yeah, I just wanted somebody. I wanted somebody to be out there.
Had you seen Rogan's name on Paul's phone in any way that night?
No.
You called. Did Rogan answer?
No.
Did you try multiple times?
Looking at these records, I believe that I did, but I believe some of those are like the FaceTime calls that are to Rogan. I mean, I'm trying to call him, but I don't believe that was me actually. I didn't FaceTime. I didn't FaceTime people. So I think that's either me trying to call him and hitting FaceTime, or that's me hitting buttons or hitting the phone.
In the State's Exhibit 519, which is the condensed timeline done by Agent Rudofsky, there's an indication, Alec, that at 10:22:09, you opened a group text message from Michael Gunn stating, "She brought the heat for Miami boys." Were you reading text messages from Michael Gunn right after you got off with the 911 operator?
I heard him ask that question. I can promise you I wasn't reading any text messages.
There's also an entry out that says at 10:40 p.m. that you did a Google search or a Safari browser search for Whaley's at Edisto while your wife and son are laying dead on the ground. Did you do that?
No. Whaley's is a restaurant at Edisto that we ate at a lot of times. We got takeout from a lot of times. So I'm assuming it was in my search history, pulling up the restaurant, and obviously was trying to call people or dialing, and I hit that. I wasn't doing any Google searches.
And is one of the persons that you died?
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I am guilty on a daily basis of doing this right here. I'm going to call somebody and then completely get distracted. Then I'm going to go over here to Facebook, and then I'm going to get distracted again. Then I'm going to end up over here on Safari and not even know what I'm looking for. So I'm not going to question whether he looked at Whaley's in Edisto. Okay? Because kind of believe him on that one. Kind of.
Dialed that night a wedding photographer?
It's a guy named Brian White. I saw that on the call log. Brian White's a guy who was in my, contacts, that is a videographer that I've used in cases. I haven't used him in 2 years. And he's a good guy, but we're not personal friends, so I certainly wasn't calling him.
So were you? What does that indicate to you, that those actions on your phone? How do you account for that?
Obviously they're unintentional. I mean, I'm doing something with my phone trying to call people, but I'm not trying to call those people. I'm not doing a Google search for any Whaley's restaurant, and I'm certainly not reading any text.
I want to ask you,
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to go to the jury room for a break of about 10 minutes. Please do not discuss the case. You'll stay put, Mr. Miller.
Okay, so they're going to go on a break. So I'm going to fast forward through it, you guys. I'm not going to sit here for 10 minutes and watch that sign.
You may bring the jury. Thank you.
Paul's body and Maggie's body. Do you recall getting blood on you, on your hands, or any part of you?
Yes.
Do you know with whose blood you would have gotten on you?
I know I got blood on my fingertips.
Can you differentiate, whether it was Maggie or Paul?
It's probably both. Except with so much blood. But
There, turns out there was a drop of blood on the steering wheel of the Suburban. Do you know how that got there?
I mean, if it was fresh, I put it there. If it was not fresh, Maggie drove my car all the time, but I assume it got there from me touching Maggie and then touching the steering wheel that night.
And then I think maybe there's possibly blood on this gun, maybe not. Do you know if you got transferred blood on anything else that night?
If Maggie's blood's on that gun, then I put it there. Maggie didn't really fool with guns other than to put them up.
There's did you submit to a GSR examination that night?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, and that Brian Mardaugh testified about.
Where your hands were swabbed,
That's right.
and then your clothes were collected by, I don't know if it's Agent Owen or someone else.
That's correct.
So we're moving through the timeline of that night fairly quickly. But this is where they talk about, given the clothes that he had on, swabbing for the GSR, the gunshot residue. And he cooperated. He did not give any reason for them not to believe him at the time. And in the moment, can you fathom, come into that scene? If he is innocent, can you fathom come into that scene and finding your wife and your son in that condition, unalived? Could you have even, I don't even know that I would have been able to call 911. And I'm the type of person that in a moment like that, I go into chaos mode. My sister's here. She can tell you, I shut down. I can't think. So I would be the one that would make 500 mistakes in that moment. I probably would have tried CPR. I probably would have, tried to bandage the wound. I don't know what I would do, but I don't think I would just stand there and just look at it. Like, I think I would try to fix the situation, try to save them. And then I know I couldn't have made a phone call or a text, or my phone would be a disaster. FBI would have a field day going through my phone in that moment. So it's times like when I'm listening to this and I'm thinking of what my reaction would be, I don't find it odd. If he did take the gun that had the 16 gauge shell in the 12 gauge shotgun, for his protection, as he claims, then when he touched Maggie to see if she had a pulse, or when he touched Paul to see if he had a pulse, there's going to be blood. There, it was not just a scene that was cut and dry. Like, there was going to be blood, and it would transfer to the gun if he's walking around carrying the gun. You guys are, I know I got distracted by them newborn puppies too. She sent me puppy pictures. And
turns out there's GSR on your shirt, on your shorts. And did you handle this gun? This is
Yes.
This is item 22 that.
Yes, I basically had that gun with me until I put it up against my car. When the police officer, I think it was Mr. Green, got there, I put it against my car.
And I think Nolan had testified that this is, one of the shotguns Paul liked to use.
It is.
Was he meticulous about cleaning his guns?
Pawpaw?
Yeah.
No. Now, when he cleaned it, he was meticulous about it, but it was far and few between when he actually cleaned them.
Your shirt went through testing and analysis, and you were part of this case, provided results of that, were you not?
Yes, sir. I mean, I wasn't provided at the time. I've seen them.
Right.
Seen all these records.
You just let me ask you, did you get on your shirt high velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of shooting Maggie or Paul?
There's no way that I had high velocity blood spatter on me.
Had you seen reports that said that at one point in time?
I have seen reports that said that.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near Paul and Maggie when they got shot.
After SLED collected your clothing that night at the main residence at Moselle, you remember changing in? You remember what you changed into?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
I know I changed clothes, and I've learned since then what I had on, but I don't.
You don't remember? Okay.
I don't remember that at all. But I understand I had on athletic shorts and a t-shirt.
Sure. And other people have talked about this. I'm not going to repeat it, but where did you spend the night, or where did you go to after leaving Moselle when you left for the evening?
We went to Alameda too. We went to my mom and dad's house, and we stayed there.
And who went with you?
I believe that Bus and Brooklyn and I rode together. John Marvin might have been with us. I know John Marvin stayed at Alameda with us. I just don't know if he rode in the same car we rode in. But I know I rode with Buster and Brooklyn. I know that for a fact.
And the the next morning, what'd you do? And we're talking about daylight hours on June the 8th. What did you do?
And we basically got up and came back to Moselle.
Do you remember roughly what time you got to Moselle?
I don't remember. No, I don't remember what time. There's things I remember about that morning, but I don't remember exactly what time we left.
And Alec, we'll get to this more detail, but during that period of time, is it hard to remember times, what time things started and stopped, and how long things took?
I mean, it's definitely hard to remember. Now, looking at these timelines and all these records, I mean, it sure helps, but to just do it off the top of my head is very difficult.
And we'll get to more of that.
Okay, so we've left the scene. We've given our clothes, our gunshot residue. We've now went to our mother's. But the next morning we come back. I still have questions about the night of, like the night of the scene. Like, I feel like there's more to tell about that, and not not what he did the next morning, because the crime's already committed at that point, right? I don't know. There's still a lot of questions about the night of.
When you went back to Moselle on the morning of June the 8th, did you do you know whether you took a shower there, or took a shower at Alameda, or took a shower at all?
Now, I know we took a shower at Moselle. I did not take a shower before I left Alameda. We basically got up and went to Moselle. Maggie's mom and dad.
They were there.
They were coming. Tell them, see them. We got up. We got up from Alameda.
Hey,
and we left, and
Duchess.
we went to Moselle.
Glad to see you.
And do you know? Do you even recall SLED coming in and searching the house for anything on the 8th?
I knew that. I knew they were doing it. Yeah. I knew they were doing it. But I don't remember. I wasn't out in that gun room and see all that video and all that. But I knew SLED, was coming in there. I mean, we made the house available for them to come in there. So, I mean, I can't tell you details, but yeah, I remember it.
Did you at one point just tell SLED they had carte blanche to search anywhere, anytime?
I told SLED they could do anything, anywhere, anytime that they wanted to. Anything to do with me, my property, my cars. Even though I didn't own the cars, I would get my law firm owned the cars. I would have the people. They had full, whatever they wanted, they were welcome to.
And did you have any discussions with David Owen or anybody at SLED about consenting to General Motors to get that off the car?
Every time that I talked to David Owens, I would ask him about getting OnStar data and GPS data from phones.
And why was it important to you to get OnStar data and GPS data from the phone?
To confirm where I was saying I went, what I did, GPS. At that point in time, I knew that Maggie's phone had been taken, and I knew that my Suburban and my phone and Maggie's phone never crossed paths. And that was extremely important to me. And I asked him about it every single time we talked, every single time.
And speaking of Maggie's phone, did you know her password to her phone?
Yes, I knew her password.
Did you know her password to her computer?
Yes,
Did she know your password?
yes.
Okay. And when Maggie's phone was located on the side of the road, did you provide SLED the password to her phone?
I did. I think I actually provided it to John Marvin, who provided it to SLED, but I'm the one who gave it to him.
Right.
These Southern names, you guys.
And
John Marvin.
your knowledge that Maggie's have these location services on her phone. She used them frequently.
All the time. One of Maggie's things that she liked to do was there's that app called Find My Friends that you can see what other people are doing and they can see what you're doing. Maggie loved me, Bus, Pawpaw, Brooklyn, Grandma, Papa T, Marion, the three girls, Lizzie, and there were a few others, but the people that were closest to her, she had them all in her phone, and she loved to look at that phone and see where people are, and she'd love to surprise you. Like, let's say you're at Walmart, she looks on there, and she'd love to text you, get me a TV from Walmart or something, you know, like she followed you and see where you were. She used it all the time. And so, you know, I just knew that there would be GPS data on Maggie's phone.
Alec, when you're being interviewed on the night of June 7th and again on June the 10th, what was your understanding as to why they were interviewing you? Why were you being interviewed?
On
By
June the
SLED?
7th and June the 10th?
Yes, sir.
What's the question again?
What is his understanding of why SLED was interviewing him on the night of June the 7th and again on June the 10th?
And the basis for the objection?
401 and 402, Your Honor.
What do you mean?
Relevance, Your Honor. His understanding is not.
Hi, Sway and Killshot. Welcome back. Yes, Duchess. Watching his testimony, I didn't get to see all of this testimony, but yesterday I was glued to yesterday's testimony. I was all up in that. I think I'm you guys, I'm not going to be able to, I think I'm going to be like my own hung jury over here on this. He definitely, like the part that we watched last night, he seemed to be a lot more anxious than he is at this point in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't seem to be as wigged out. Right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I think I'm with Kristen on this. I don't necessarily believe that he pulled the trigger. I definitely feel like he had a big play in it. Whether it was pay someone or what, but, and I need to look into it. I don't know, like, what happened with the lawsuit from the boat wreck. I need to look into that. Kristen might know, because I had forgotten about that. That's, I know that they were being sued for millions of dollars from this boat wreck. And he didn't have the money. He didn't have millions of dollars. He had a lot of money, but he didn't have millions of dollars. So, drug addiction, the freaking millions of dollars lawsuit, all of that, the paranoia, all of that catching up with this man really, really, I think, pushed him over the edge. And he didn't know what to do or how to react anymore. Hey, Doxy. So that put them like at a disadvantage, knowing that, at this point, Dynasty has fallen. Like, he's not recovering. He's not going to be a rich man at the end of this. And everybody has figured out Mr. Alex Mardaugh at this point. No one trusts him. Everybody has put 2 and 2 together with the boat wreck, the Stephen incident. Yeah, I think everything just caught up with him, and he felt like this was his only way out, and thought that he would get away with it, and he would, have probably 2 life insurance policies to live off of. And yeah, I think that Mr. Alex Mardaugh just lost his mind, and was out of ways. Yes, the way the whole family, the way that they acted after that boat wreck was crazy. And I'm sure that Paul, you think about it, you guys, if you had taken someone's life, even if it was an accident, you would you wouldn't be the same. Not if you are a normal human with real feelings. You would not be the same after taking someone's life, and having to live with that. So
It's not important
yeah,
what he said.
the remorse is,
Response.
there is none. There is no remorse at all.
Well, I can, it goes to his, his follow, it goes to his state of mind. I mean, that's what it goes to.
Objection sustained.
Did, why was it important to you to be able to get data from the Suburban, data from your phone, and data from Maggie's phone?
I knew at that point in time, since I was the person who found Pawpaw and Mags, that I was a suspect. I mean, they kept talking about this circle, but I mean, I knew that it was very important for me to find that, to get that.
And what was your belief as to that information? What would it have done for you?
There's no question in there that it would demonstrate that I couldn't have done this.
And when was the data from General Motors off that Suburban finally obtained?
It was either this past Saturday or the Saturday before that. according to what was said in this courtroom.
during this trial.
Absolutely.
And to your knowledge, was GPS data ever able to be located off Maggie's phone?
I mean, not just to my knowledge, it was not able to be gotten. You know, the testimony was in here that it couldn't be gotten. It only went back to June the 9th. Everything before that was erased on Maggie's phone.
Now, when starting June the 8th, when that Moselle, did a lot of people come to support you, be with you on June the 8th?
On June the 8th,
Yes, sir.
like the next day?
Right.
Yes, sir. A lot of people.
And you mentioned your Maggie's parents and family came as well.
Yes, sir.
From that moment, June 8th, when folks, family came and to Moselle and you met with them, were you left alone by any of your family members the rest of that week?
No, I mean, I was attached to Buster. At the hip. But, I mean.
And what
no,
happened on?
I wasn't.
And what happened on June the 10th? Besides being interviewed by SLED?
My dad died. My dad passed.
And where did you stay and with whom did you stay on the night of June the 8th, the night of June the 9th, the night of June the 10th?
On the night of June, you asked me to start on the 8th?
The 8th, yes, sir.
All right, starting on the 8th, I stayed with Buster every night. I stayed with Buster, and as long as Brooklyn was there, I stayed with Buster in Brooklyn. But we stayed with, I'm pretty sure that's beginning on the 8th. I know the 7th we stayed at Alameda, and I believe on the 8th we started staying at John Marvin and Lizzie's at Greenfield.
And how far is Greenfield from Alameda?
As the crow flies, I mean, it's no distance. It's less than 5 minutes. It's probably few minutes away.
And who stayed there?
Go back to as the
John
crow
Marvin
flies.
and his wife Liz stay there as well?
Yes, John and Lizzie. All right, John and Lizzie stayed there and their kids, Bus and Brooklyn and I. I know Bubba and Maymay stayed there. Well, Lizzie's mom and daddy stayed there. And my daddy's best friend and his wife came in there. I believe they came before my daddy passed. I know they came after he passed and stayed there.
And how many nights do you recall staying there at Greenfield?
So I stayed at Greenfield. The 7th was a Monday. I stayed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Greenfield. I know that for a fact.
And the Maggie and Paul's funeral was Saturday, is that right?
Now, I heard that in this courtroom say it was Saturday, but
Is it a memorial service?
nah, their funeral was on Friday.
Oh, it was on Friday.
I know that for a fact too.
And then your father's funeral was on Sunday?
My father's funeral was on Sunday, and it was my father's funeral. I forget the term. But Sunday, mean, that's when we put Papa and Mags. That's when we buried him. We didn't bury him when we had the service on Friday. So I don't think they were done. But that's when we buried them, along with my dad, on Sunday.
And Alec, what'd you do with the following week, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Starting when now?
So the day after your dad's funeral.
All right, Monday, I went to Grandma and Papa T's, Somerville,
At some point, Monday.
in the afternoon. You mean what did I do when I got up that
Yeah,
morning?
well, yeah, where did you stay?
We stayed at Greenfield Sunday night. So we woke up at Greenfield on Monday.
So, and Sunday night you were with the same family members, your brother and Brooklyn and Buster and
That's right.
Liz.
And Lizzie and Lizzie's mom and dad. And I believe Donnie and Paula were still there, but I can't remember when they left.
And then you went to Somerville with whom?
I believe I went to Somerville by myself, but I know Buster in the car by myself. I can't remember if Buster and I rode together, but I think we might have had separate cars. We probably did ride together that first day. I don't remember, but I know I went to Somerville and Buster was in Somerville with me, with Grandma and Papa T.
And Somerville is where Maggie's parents live?
That's right. That's Maggie's mom and dad. Maggie's mom is Grandma, and Maggie's dad's Papa T.
And did you stay with them for a few days in Somerville?
I stayed with them longer. In Somerville, yeah, I stayed with them. We stayed in Somerville Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then we went to Greenville.
Okay. And what was in Greenville?
My niece. That was she was having a baby, and Maggie had just been so excited. So she's just so proud of those girls. She was so excited about the baby. And so
Yeah. I don't feel like we're watching a trial. I feel like we are listening to personal conversations. I don't even understand what this. I feel like they just let him just sit on the stand and just talk about whatever the heck he wants to talk about. What do you got? I mean, do y'all feel like he's just like, okay, whatever? And I don't know why he keeps saying the crow flies. I don't know. Apparently, I am not that deep in the South. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, they just put him on the stand and was like, here, you've been locked up for this long. Just talk about whatever the heck you want to talk about. We'll just go with it. We'll just, ask some follow-up questions. I mean, I was saying this last night. Like, I find it very, very odd that he got to just like ramble, because I'm not used to seeing that in a court case. Usually it's straightforward question and answers, and they will tell you that's enough. Don't speak. just answer the question. And all this other stuff would be like hearsay. I don't know. I don't know. He wants to convince anyone sitting on the fence to believe that he is the victim and he did not do this. I still don't understand. This is not convincing me. I don't know what the niece having a baby and Maggie being so proud and so excited about a baby. I don't know. I can't make sense of
Baby
this
being
trial.
born just became such a big deal to me.
So was the baby born?
Yeah,
And you went
yeah.
out?
Baby born, beautiful little baby girl, beautiful little mom.
And then did you go up to the lake after that?
We did. Well, I mean, we stayed. This lake, Kiwi, that y'all heard about, is really close to Greenville. And so when I say we went to Greenville, we really went to Lake Kiwi. But we went up there because, when she had the baby, I want to say the baby might have gotten born shortly after we got there, like Thursday, but I think it was Saturday before we could go and see them and see my niece and see the baby. So, I mean, that's where we went, was to Lake Kiwi. But they live in Greenville.
Greenville, South Carolina. Okay, he's getting anxious again.
On the morning of June 16th, I think that was a Wednesday. I think that's a Wednesday. Where'd you wake up?
Somerville.
Did you ever go to Alameda on that day?
On Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe so.
Did you go to Alameda at 6:30 in the morning?
I know for a fact that I didn't go to Alameda at 6:30 in the morning. I was in
Right,
Somerville.
Hillshot?
I didn't go to Alameda at any point early in the morning. I was in Somerville, and I'm not positive about this, but I know they did I know some of those records they have. It was sometime before I left Somerville.
Did you ever during that week? Let's just start with that week following your dad's funeral. Did you ever take a tarp into the house at Alameda? A blue tarp.
The week following my dad's funeral?
Yes.
No, I did not.
There's been I don't know where it is in any of the boxes, but this blue rain jacket. Have you ever seen that before?
Never seen it before, never touched it, and don't know anything about it.
Did you did you ever remember taking a tarp at any point in time over the house?
No, I don't remember it. I don't remember taking a talk over there, but Shelley's got something in her mind about that, and there may have been some point, but I certainly don't remember it, and it certainly wasn't anytime around my dad's funeral or the weeks following.
I think we talked briefly about your recollection of times, and
Okay.
and I just want to play Doug from
His recollection of time is, I don't remember. I don't know. like, I don't know, is his go-to answer. And I don't know, it's not an answer. Yes, he might have been seen with the blue tarp. Okay, I don't know what happened, you guys. Freaking StreamYard just decided that it did not want me talking about Mr. Alex Mardaugh anymore tonight, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, because he was starting to get on my nerves, anyways. There's just too much mumbo jumbo going on that isn't even relevant. So, yeah, I'm good with ending it for tonight. I do want to finish it. I think tomorrow I'm going to work on a pre-recorded so that you guys can like have the forefront of it and understand more of what this case has going on in it. Because there's a lot of webs. Isn't that what he called them? Tangled webs we weave. So, I know Killshot's going live in about 30 minutes. I do need to go chat with Duchess because, you know, I'm not on Facebook, and so people are starting to get a little bit worried. And I want to say thank you to you guys that have reached out and sent emails and gotten in contact with me or someone else to just check on me. That means a lot. So anytime that you can't get in touch with me, you guys, you can always get in touch with my people. Kristen, Weezy, Sluggy, Crazy Mama, my sister, Blind, Killshot. Any of them will be able to get in touch with me and let you know that I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, that's what friends do for each other. Hey, Ellen, we're ending it, girlfriend, but we are going to be over at Killshots. Yes, please hit the like. You guys know I forget to say that all the time. But seriously, you guys, I took the time off that I needed and I reset, and I am feeling a lot better. About a lot of things, and sister StreamYard is being difficult. So Monday I'm going to reach back out to Yahoo, try to get back into my Yahoo again. I haven't heard anything back from them. And then hopefully, because time is running out on my Facebook, you guys, like I could care less about Instagram because I really don't have that much on my Instagram. But my Facebook is like everything is on there. So now I've got the hiccups. All right, you guys, I love y'all. Good night. I will see y'all if you join us over at Killshots. Good night.